hair. I once saw a short film about a young man being shaved. He sat very close to the camera and stared. He hardly blinked at all, even though the person shaving his hair was a little raw at times. I could just see an orange cloth around his neck, and there was smoke drifting up in front of him from an invisible source. The young man was obviously going to become a monk, and his head was being shaved in preparation. By the orange robe, I assumed he was a Buddhist rather than a Christian monk, and the smoke was coming from incense sticks. I could almost smell them. His blank stare seemed to suggest some holy trance or meditation. When he was completely shaved, the barber brushed the falling hair away and then removed the cloth. I was a little surprised because I thought the monk was wearing a robe rather than having a protective cloth draped over his shoulders. The camera drew back and I was surprised even more. He wore a tight, white t-shirt tucked into jeans that were held up by a pair of braces. He also wore large black boots. He wasn't a monk at all. He was a skinhead. He was still staring as he leaned forward and picked up the smoking item. Not incense stick at all, but a cigarette. He put the cigarette into the corner of his mouth and took a draw. His non-stop staring became menacing. The shaven head no longer meant a peaceful existence, but an aggressive one. The film cleverly showed the strong but opposite symbolizing a society with shaved heads. Why do both monks and skinheads shave their heads when their attitude to life is so different? For monks and skinheads shave their heads when their attitude to life is so different. For monks, a shaved head is a sign of renunciation, giving up worldly things and putting aside vanity. Early Christian monks had their heads shaved in order to make them appear less sexual, so the act of shaving the head symbolized chastity. And not just for monks, it is the custom for ultra-Orthodoxes, asking Jewish women to have their heads shaved before marriage. This comes from the traditional idea that they will then be attractive only to their husbands. However, it is also now usual for married women to wear a wig or a head covering rather than having their heads shaved. In many cultures, long hair is considered feminine and sexy, so that women who choose to have their heads shaved or have very short hair often have their sexuality questioned. But skinheads have a different motive to monks. They recognize that a shaved head can send out a negative message. Hair and what you do with it can make you more attractive, so by removing the skinhead is saying, I don't care. It's a rejection of society and its traditional values rather than the monks' rejection of vanity. Skinheads do, after all, care what they look like, so the act of shaving the head symbolizes rebellion. It is linked to extreme right-wing politics, male aggression, and football hooliganism. There is a big difference, though, between choosing to have your head shaved and having it done against your will. Shaving at all where is a sign of renunciation, but enforced shaving can be shaming and humiliating. Criminals are usually shaved in prison, and women who were thought to have collaborated with the enemy during the Second World War in Europe were marched shaven-headed through the streets. People who are controlled are shaved. Soldiers, not necessarily completely shaved, are made to have extremely short hair They are expected to take commands unquestionably. Long hair also has a strong symbolism. Ironically, in the West, hippies in the 1960s grew their hair long as a reflection of traditional values, especially contemporary views concerning war and the use of atomic bombs and sex. Hippies led an alternative lifestyle, and their hair was grown long to express new social, political, and moral values. So, the act of not cutting hair symbolized rebellion. To in a contrast, uses the smoke shave their heads and spiritual gesture. Zincs do not cut their hair for the same reason. In Sikhism, hair is considered sacred, and so removal from any part of the body is forbidden. Uncut hair is called kesh and is one of the 5 holy keys. For Sikhs, this signifies the acceptance of the natural form given by God, and they point out that they profit from the parts or have long hair, especially for Orthodox men who wear turbans. It is a way of marking them off from their other people. So what is about hair that can make it so symbolic? What does its legs represent of religious, politics, and cultural beliefs? Perhaps this is because hair has some strange properties. Firstly, it is the only part of the body that does not register pain, except at the robots. We can do all sorts of things to our hair and it doesn't feel anything. Secondly, it obeys us. A lock of hair can be kept as a remembrance long after someone has died. Thirdly, it's not alive, but as it can remain in the same state forever, it doesn't seem to be dead either. It's immortal, so the next time you go to the hairdresser for a haircut, consider the significance of what you are having done and what your choosing hairstyle says about you.